New Mexico, Dalton, Georgia. All right, so this guy, he's coming up. Come on up and start walking up here, because goddamn it, I don't want to wait all fucking night. We call him Cougar Bait. He's from Dalton, Georgia. He is Cougar Bait. He's ready to go tonight for $100. He is so young, he can fuck 3 times in an hour. That's what this guy can do right here. So y'all help him out tonight. He just lost his job. He needs to make a little money from Dalton. Give it up for Cougar Bait, Cody Dailey.
How's it tonight, SouthSide Saloon? Yeah, pretty good. I'm doing great myself. Actually, this is my 3rd time being here at the SouthSide Saloon. I just like to know, the very first year was actually a show, and we had the flat shit, and I was going over my notes right before going on stage, and I looked to the right of me, and there was a cop standing 2 feet away from me. I looked back at my notes, and I looked back at the cop, and it was like, shit, over 90% of my material is about drugs. Now, being a comedian, normally I would have went ahead and did the set, but being a hippie, I had a 20 bag in my pocket, and I figured it would be in the best interest to change that shit real quick. Yeah, Cougar Bait, thank you, Wade. That's a horrible fucking nickname, you don't understand. Listen, I've never even done anything with a cougar in my life, so why would that be a good nickname for me? But look, in reality, if I ever get a cougar back to my place, somewhere during the walk of shame from the front door to past my parents' bedroom door and into my bedroom with the Star Wars bed set and the Batman poster in the video game collection, I remind them of their 12-year-old son, you know, and they change their mind. The chick's sitting there and she's like, oh, hell no, I can't do this shit. And I'm like, shh, bitch, you'll wake up my parents. What are you trying to do, get me grounded? I mean, fuck. You know, since becoming a stand-up comic, I've come to this point where I wonder how necessary it is for me to actually tell a woman that I'm a stand-up comic when I meet her. And you know, though they always respond with such great things, you know, they're very positive about it, so you think it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But in my mind, I feel like every time I tell them I'm a stand-up comic, in the back of their mind, the only thing they're thinking is, can I really brag to my friends about sleeping with this motherfucker? He's a stand-up comic, for crying out loud. It can only really go 2 ways, right? I mean, she could be super optimistic about it and be like, oh, hey guys, I slept with a comedian. And her friends be supportive and be like, ooh, how many people get to say that? That's awesome. Or she could be like very negative about the situation and be like, guys, I slept with a comedian the other night. And she would have that best friend that would be sitting over there and be like, geez, Becky, fuck, if you give him a red nose and a pair of oversized shoes, he's a clown. I mean, you shouldn't be sleeping with him. Good shit. You know, the other day, actually last week, Wade booked me to do this wedding reception. The show didn't go down, but I would like to say that, you know, I almost asked a chick to marry me one time. I did. And being as young as I am, it's almost unbelievable that I did that. And I was about to ask her, and she handed me this stack of paper that said prenup on the front of it. I thought to myself, what the fuck? This chick doesn't have money or possessions. Why does she need a prenup? So I read the fine print, and it turned out whenever we got divorced, I had to take her children. Yeah, I was like, bullshit. Come on, I'm only 21. I'm not going to be doing that shit. You know, another thing that's really scary to me about marriage is I hear that over time, sex with the same person gets boring in marriage. Now, you cannot say that's not true with a straight face, because in a regular relationship, myself, I get bored with sex, honestly. Like, in just something typical that only lasts like 6 months. For instance, I was spending the night with my girlfriend one night back in like March or something, and it was actually the NBA playoff series. And I discovered I was bored with sex because every time we had sex, I could not stop watching TV. Like, the game was so much better than the sex to me. And apparently, she wasn't doing something right. So we're sitting there and we're watching the game because she's into sports and stuff. And, you know, that's pretty awesome. But the farther into the game we got is the more I also discovered she was into attention. Yeah, who would have thought? A chick into attention. Never would have guessed that in my life. So we're sitting there watching the game, and I'm paying no mind to her, and all of a sudden she leans over and she starts blowing in my ear a little bit, trying to get my attention, you know. Next thing you know, she's kissing on my neck, and she's tugging my hair ever so gently. And all of a sudden, she's like, Cody, let's have sex. Well, you know, I looked at the TV, and I looked back at her, and I was like, well, I can't turn her down, I'm not married. you know? So we get started, and about 5 minutes in, she catches me watching TV. She gets pissed off. She slaps my chest. She's like, "What the fuck, Cody? Were you watching TV while we were having sex?" And I responded, "No, baby. You were just so good that I was zoned out." You know, she smiles, and she turns the TV off. I'm sitting there, you know, it's third quarter. Atlanta's down by 3. If they lose, they go home till next season, if there is another season. She turns the TV off. We get back at it. About 5 more minutes in, I come up with a plan. I'm like, "Hey baby, let's do something kinky. Let's use a blindfold." Being a redhead, she was all down for that. You can ask Red. So she's like, "Hell yeah." I put the blindfold on her. She's on top. We go back to doing our thing. About 5 more minutes in, I lean over, I grab the TV remote, turn that bitch on and hit the mute button. I'm watching the game and having sex. It does not get no better than this. I get into the game, all of a sudden, Atlanta shoots, I yell out, "Shit, air ball." You know, being a sports fan, she knew those references. She thought I was insulting her, like she was not doing good enough. So she starts working faster, working harder at it. And you know, the next time, Atlanta shoots again, and all of a sudden it's like, "Yes, assisted layup." Still not good enough. This bitch starts working even harder at what she's doing. Okay? Atlanta gets back down the court, they shoot again. I'm like, "Fuck yes, 3-pointer." No, not good enough still. She's working harder and harder and harder. All of a sudden Atlanta shoots again and I'm like, "Buzzer beater, it's a fucking buzzer beater." Fuck, Chicago won. Horrible get off, I promise you. So Wade was up here and he pointed out there's a couple of gay people here. Now, I mean, it was really is that necessary to point out? I mean, come on. You know, I was watching TV the other day on the news, and in West Virginia, there was a couple of black people who got offended that their neighbor had a Confederate flag flying in their yard. And, you know, they went through all this stuff, and they even made them put up a fence to actually make it to where they could not see it. And I would like to say, before I step off stage and welcome Wade back up here, if we have come to the point in time in humanity to where we are all right with gay people, they are just like us, you know, fucking give them 110%. I'm sorry, the black community should be okay with the Confederate flag. And that's what I'm going down on. Thank you, I've been Cody Dailey.